Today we are talking about the 15-inch subwoofer from SVS, and that would be the SVS SB-5000R Evolution. These are serious subwoofers. Now, this is not a sponsored video. I'm not getting paid to make the video, and SVS has graciously loaned me these 4 subwoofers for this review. Now, I've had these subwoofers for a few weeks now, probably over a month. And so I've been able to try them out extensively here in my main theater. And I gotta say, I'm extremely impressed with these subs. These things are solid. Now, let's talk about some specs here. So, like I mentioned, this is a 15-inch subwoofer. And so it has a 15-inch driver. It actually has a dual voice coil. It's a 3-inch dual voice coil. And the spec that I want to, well, there's a few specs that I want to highlight. But the very first one that I want to talk about is the weight. These subs are seriously heavy. Now, heavy subs, that's nothing new. But I gotta say, like the footprint, these things are basically an 18-inch cube. With the grill cover, they're 19-inch deep, but that gives you an idea of how large these things are. They're not huge, right? Like they're not overpowering for your room, but dang, are they dense. They weigh 102 pounds each. Now, to put that in perspective, the previous subs that I've had in my theater that I've been very happy with up to this point, highlight, up to this point. I'll get to that later. But those subs, they are the Mega S 15-inch subs from Episode, and those subs weigh 63 pounds each. So keep that in mind. The footprint is basically the same. Those subs from Episode, they're also basically an 18-inch cube. The Episode sub weighs about 63 pounds. The SVS sub, 102 pounds. These things are serious. Now, for the amplifier, they are rated at 2,000 watts continuous and 5,000 watts peak. Now, to compare that to my Episode subs, those are rated at 650 watts continuous and 1,300 watts peak. Wattage alone, there is a significant upgrade with the SVS subs. Also, in addition, my Episode subs were rated down to 20 hertz, and the SVS SB-5000 sub is rated down to 17 hertz. And based on what I'm measuring here in my room, I am getting that. Now, one of the things that I wanted to test here in my theater, and I mentioned this in a previous video, is that I wanted to try 4 subs because I wanted to get that tactile feel that I was missing with my previous subs. And so here in my theater, I actually have bass shakers installed in these 3 seats that are behind me. And I really like having those bass shakers. I don't have them turned way up, like they're not super strong. I mean, they are strong. They're capable of being cranked up, but I don't like them cranked up that strong. So I would dial them back quite a bit. I just wanted to get like that tactile feel. And so the challenge here in my main theater is that because I'm in a basement, I have a concrete slab floor. And so that concrete slab floor, it doesn't really transmit those low frequencies from the sub to the main listening position very well. And so I use my bass shakers to kind of enhance or augment the performance from the subs. So I was curious to hear and feel what kind of performance I would get from these SVS subs. And so I went from having the 2 Episode subs kind of at the front of my room to having 4 subs, 1 in each corner. And these subs are incredible. These SVS subs, they really are just phenomenal subs. As soon as I plugged them in and kind of started doing some initial testing, immediately the performance was noticeable. They dig deep and they thump. And now I am getting that tactile feel from the subs without the bass shaker. So I'll unplug the bass shaker, and it's not to the level of what I got with the bass shakers. I want to emphasize that because, again, I have that challenge of having, the concrete floor, and so the sound doesn't transmit very well. But I am now getting like that tactile feel in my seats, and it's incredible. They feel and sound amazing. The other thing is these are sealed subs, and so they just are very, very tight, and they're very musical. I was kind of curious to listen to music and then listen with my ear up next to the sub to see if I could hear it producing the different frequencies, not just a, not just a boom or not just a thud, but actually hear like how musical they are and how well they do at varying frequencies. And they sound amazing. They really are. They are able to reproduce a broad range of frequencies. Like I say, they're rated down to 17 hertz up to, I have my crossover set at just over 80 hertz. And I was able to hear and distinguish all of those frequencies within that range. They sound awesome. The other nice thing about these subs is the app that comes along with them. And I have it downloaded on my phone. From that app, you can adjust the volume individually for each sub. They connect over Bluetooth, and so you can connect to each sub, whichever one you want to adjust. You can adjust the volume, you can adjust the polarity. Easy enough. It's kind of like a light switch, one way or the other way. Phase is infinitely adjustable. Some subs, they'll have a phase adjustment, like a dial on the back. You can set it to 0 or you can set it to 180. Well, with these SVS subs, through the app, you can set it to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, every single degree, all the way up to 180. So it's infinitely adjustable. And so the app also has 6 parametric EQ adjustments that you can individually, use for sliders, and you can adjust how you want the sound to sound from each individual sub. So they're very, very adjustable. Now, I should mention that SVS is currently working on I'm not sure exactly what they're going to call it, but basically it's going to be a feature in the app that will use the speaker on your phone to individually adjust and fine tune each sub automatically. So it'll take a measurement near this. This is from my understanding, is you'll take a measurement near the sub, so it measures how the sub is supposed to sound, and then it'll take a measurement at your main listening position, and then make all of those adjustments within the sub to automatically fine tune and optimize your sub for the best possible sound at your main listening position. So that feature is supposed to be coming out, I believe, sometime in the next month or two. I think it's scheduled for before the end of the year. So don't quote me on that, but that's my understanding. So I'm excited to try out that feature. Once they release that, once they do, I'll make a video where I talk about that and review that feature. Now here in my room, I have the Trinov Altitude 16 processor, and I have 13 speakers in my theater. And so on the Trinov, there are 16 XLR outputs. So that only leaves 3 empty XLR outputs. Now, Trinov does have an additional 4 channels available. I've got a video in the works for that in the near future. Hopefully that works out. I'm going to demonstrate and show how to actually access those 4 channels, but for right now, I'm not able to do that. And so my workaround was to use a mini DSP. So I used one output on the Trinov Altitude 16 into the mini DSP, and then I hooked up all 4 subs to the mini DSP. Now, I was anticipating that I would need to make adjustments to each individual sub. I would need to adjust the phase, the polarity, probably do some EQing to really dial in each individual sub. And so I used REW and the UMIC 1 microphone, and I set it up here at my main listening position, and I measured each individual sub. And honestly, I think it's because of my room or for whatever reason, your results will probably vary wildly. But in my situation, just the default settings for each sub gave me the best results. That's where it measured the best. I tried different, phase adjustments throughout everything from 0 up to 180, and then lots of settings in between. And 0 gave me the best result. So I actually didn't really have to do much, if any, specific adjustments for each individual sub. I'm basically just using the mini DSP as a splitter. So 4 subs connected through the mini DSP into the one output on the Trinov. And it sounds great. They sound awesome. So like I say, I've had it for a number of weeks now, over a month, and I've watched quite a few movies. I've listened to a ton of music. These things thump. They are incredible. Just recently, just yesterday, I was listening to some music, and after 30 minutes, 45 minutes of listening to music, the bass, it was so intense. I actually dialed it back. I connected to each sub and just reduced the volume by 5 dB, just so I could, I was like, man, I'm going to start getting a bass headache. Like they really put out. The other thing I wanted to test, like I say, I'm running 4 of them, but I wanted to test and see, listen, how would just one do in this room? So the one that's located back here in this corner that's closest to the main listening position, it's doing most of the heavy lifting. The other 3, they are definitely contributing, but their main contribution is to maintain seat-to-seat consistency across all 6 of my seats. So what I did was I just connected to them, muted the other 3 subs, and just to listen and feel how a single sub would perform here in my room. So I've got just a single SVS SB-5000 active. It's the only one that's producing any sound. And I was really impressed with how good it sounded, how much it thumped. I mean, it really puts out a lot of output. And to give you a little bit of context as to the size of my room is 14 and a half feet wide, 22 feet deep, and just a little bit less than 8 feet tall. So it's about 320 square feet, and it is about 2,400 cubic feet. So that gives you an idea of the size of the room that I'm, in that situation, I was just running just a single sub off of, and it still performed extremely well. These subs are awesome. They really are. Like I say, they're on loan from SVS. I don't know. I'm going to be really, really sad to send these things back. I may need to purchase these subs. I ran into that situation recently when I reviewed the Kaleidoscape Strato M. Kaleidoscape loaned it to me, and I used it for like 2 weeks, and I'm like, I can't send this thing back. So I emailed him. I'm like, can I just buy this thing? I may be looking to do something similar with these SVS subs, because now that I've had them for over a month, I don't think I want to send them back. These things rock. They are awesome. Some of the movies that have really stood out, where I really, really felt them. The opening scene of John Wick 4, I think it's John Wick 4, when he's punching the board that's like wrapped, and Lawrence Fishburne is, yelling out his monologue or whatever. And just each of those impacts, I mean, it was just like, boom, it was just like a hit to the chest. And then on Top Gun Maverick, when Tom Cruise is doing his test run where he's showing that he can get under 2 minutes and 30 seconds or 2:15 or whatever. Anyways, and the whole class is watching that scene with the jet, just the impact from that. Oh, so good. I also recently watched 2 movies where both of them, the soundtrack, it wasn't so much music. It was just like for impact and for effect, the sound effects. The first was House of Dynamite. It just recently came out on Netflix. And that movie, oh man, if you want a workout for your subs, if you really want to see and listen and hear how well your subs are performing, watch House of Dynamite. And I was just watching just the 5.1 audio track. So it wasn't even the Atmos. I don't know if it's even available on Atmos, but the version I watched was 5.1. And then I had the Trinov upmix the 5.1 to the Oro 3D through that upmixer. And the subs were just going crazy through the whole movie. Just those low frequencies. There's this thing. I don't know if it's a theory. I don't know if it's been proven or not, but there's this idea that super low frequencies that you can't audibly hear, but you just kind of feel them, will create a sense of like fear and dread. If that is true, which after watching House of Dynamite and experiencing it for myself, I think it might actually be true. They used those low frequencies in that movie. And through the entire movie, I just had this overwhelming sense of dread. Like I felt something watching that movie. I recently made a video where I talked about just my enjoyment of movies and how I watch movies because I want to feel something. And in House of Dynamite, I definitely felt something. That was awesome. And it was all from the subs. It was all from these SVS subs. And so that was really cool. That was really, really cool to experience that and to have these subs just take the watching and viewing experience to just another level. So, like I say, after a month, I am extremely impressed with these subs. And so, if you're looking for a 15-inch sub and you're wanting something that has a footprint that's about an 18-inch cube with serious output, the SBS SB-5000 might be the ticket. Thanks for watching.